Look, I'm really pleased. Originally, Michael set up this interview, but he's actually away, I think, doing council stuff. But it's a really interesting interview, and a theme has emerged as we're in this vacuum with the coalition talks going on. We've been looking a lot at local government and issues and the importance of local government. And particularly, I guess, a theme's been emerging of how much local body politicians appear to be constricted. This is particularly true in Wellington, where the Mayor Tory Whanau launched a witch hunt against some councillors using Labour lawyer Linda Clark, and came up with a BS report that said nothing and couldn't find leaks. But it strikes me as I read all this stuff, I imagine in my mind you become a councillor or elected representative, you stand for the people, you can say and do what you want because you're elected. And it strikes me that we have created a system of local government in particular, where pre-existing rules and regulations written by aforesaid bureaucrats really prevents local body politicians, elected representatives, from doing some of the stuff they want to. And apropos of that, quite an interesting story coming out of Gore, which has had its fair share of local body Donnybrooks of late. And it's very young Mayor Ben Bell, though we don't hold that against him. Ben Bell seems to have won whatever power struggle was going on, but he's now saying he wants to dump Gore's long-term plan, and I think this is a really interesting issue. So he joins us now. Ben, Your Worship, thank you very much indeed for joining us.
No worries. Good morning.
Oh, good morning. So you've got a long-term plan, and I know that councils put a lot of work into the long-term plan, the great vision for their borough, their city, their municipality. What's wrong with yours, Ben? Why do you want to get rid of it?
Nothing's wrong with it. We're still progressing on it, and we're putting a whole lot of hard work into it. What we're simply proposing, and what our council agreed to advocate for last night, was just to put a pause on the long-term plan aspect of it. With Three Waters still being up in the air, we've got a new government coming in who says they want to get rid of it. That's what they were voted in for. And with the current law, we have to take it out in 2025. So if we put out a 10-year plan in 2024 without our Three Waters in it, it could have a massive hole in it. It could have 1/3 of our plan not there.
Right.
So we're saying basically, let's not do the long-term plan. Let's just do an annual plan, so a 1-year rather than a 10-year.
Yeah.
Consult on that and just do that for the next 3 years until this government sorts out what it's going to do.
How closely do you stick to the plan?
Sorry, what was that?
How closely do you actually stick to the plan?
Well, that's how we operate. We operate based on our long-term plans, and then we do an annual plan to check on how we're going. So we operate pretty close to it.
Okay, all right. And you say at the moment you want to change it because Three Waters is up in the air.
Yes. So as the law stands, in 2025, as we're planning, we'll have to take out all of our Three Water assets. Now,
Right.
if this government turns around and goes, no, we want you to keep your assets, we're going to have a plan that says we're taking them out, and then we've got to put them back in. So
why not just have two plans, Ben? Plan A and Plan B?
That's a whole lot of work
Yeah.
to do two full long-term plan processes. And that's what we're saying. Let's just do the annual plan. We'll do the annual plan for the next 3 years. We'll pick up the long-term plan in 2027.
Okay, I've always thought that long-term plans, I mean, what makes God laugh is one of my favourite sayings. Do you know the answer?
No, what's that?
People who make plans. And so I've always thought they were something of a constriction. Are you also, Ben, and we've been talking to a number of mayors around the country this week, are you also required to consider the issue of Māori representation and co-governance by 2025?
We've considered multi-wards, which we've talked to our local iwi, and they say they don't want it. So that works for us.
So that's off the agenda as far as you're concerned, because it's causing quite some brouhaha in other local bodies.
Yeah, it has. Fortunately for us, it's a discussion we've had with our local runanga, and they're not interested. So we'll just continue with the way it is.
Yeah. All right, and Ben, no objection to you saying can't do the long-term plan unless we know what the hell is happening with Three Waters. That was passed last night at your council meeting last night.
Yeah, so last night we just want to do annual plans for the next 3 years. That gives the government, who is still getting things sorted, to figure out what they're going to do with Three Waters, so that we're not telling people, look, we're giving away your assets. Oh no, we're taking them back. Oh no, it's just gonna cause a mess. So we'd rather know what's happening.
I wonder how many other councils are other councils considering this, Ben, because it seems to be on a sensible move.
We brought it up at a conference in April, and it got a little bit of traction. But a lot of chief executive and council staff are under the pump trying to get this long-term plan over the line. That, like I say, 1/3 of it might not be relevant.
Yeah.
And you've got some councils who are trying to guess the law and predict where Three Waters is going to land, and you've got the other 60% like us. Just following the law and taking it out.
How much of your council's resource would be going to preparing these plans?
Oh, a significant amount. It takes up a whole lot of resource to get.
Why don't you just have a set of principles, Ben?
It's a great question for central government. A lot of those principles are created in the long-term plan. But they're very rigorously audited and checked. And yes, it's an 18-month process to pump out one of these documents.